Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, my dear students. How are you? I hope you are enjoying the best of health. I welcome you in my class, that is English for grade 3. We are learning Unit 3. Its title is I Was Running Late. My dear fellow teachers, this lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation, worksheet links are given. You may click it, download it, follow it as it is or modify it for your convenience. I am going to deliver my lecture according to this lesson plan. Yes, my dear children. We are going to learn about formal and lexical skill, and we learn about countable and countable nouns. Before this, in English for grade 2, I have taught you about singular naming words. I hope you remember. And we'll learn further to identify and differentiate between countable and uncountable nouns. This is our today's SLO. Let's start with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah mentions in Quran, Surah Ash-Shura, verse 32, and among his signs are the ships smooth running through the ocean, tall as mountains. Yes, my dear children, it's a thought-provoking, beautiful verse. Allah's signs and ship. Have you ever seen a ship sailing on water? And have you ever thought, how does a ship sail on the surface of water? Subhanallah. You see, Allah is saying these are the signs of Allah. And think about ocean. Vast water. Now we can count ships, like how many ships are sailing in the ocean. But can we count ocean? No. So this is the concept of countable and uncountable nouns. Let's learn further. First, you tell me, do you know what is noun? What is a noun? We have learnt about it. So pause the video and answer this question to your teacher. Yes, my dear children, I hope all of you remember I have taught you that everything around us that we can see, hold, touch or feel has a name that is called a noun. It may refer to person, place or thing. So we can say a noun is a naming word which refers to a person, a place or a thing, and thing include all the living and non-living things. This is the definition of noun. So one thing further, and what is that? Nouns that we can count are called countable nouns, and nouns that we cannot count are called uncountable nouns. So my dear children, what does count mean? Means we can count in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. This is count means something which you can count in numbers 1, 2, 3. If I ask you how many chairs are there in your classroom, you will quickly count and you can tell me maybe there are 30 chairs. But if I ask you how much light is there in your classroom, can you count? No. So one thing which we can count, that is countable noun, and one thing which we cannot count is uncountable noun. Right? So here are a few more examples. Look at these pictures. How many cherries are there? Let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 cherries. How many dates are there? Yes, we can count them. But how much water is there? We cannot count. So cherries, dates are countable and water is not countable. One thing more, we can count bottles. There are 1, 2, 3 bottles. So we can count bottles, but we cannot count water. So there are few more things. Look at them. Noodles. How many noodles are there in this bowl? So we cannot count it. That's why it is uncountable. Look at this picture. It's a tree. We can count tree. It's countable. But how many leaves are there on this tree? We don't know. It's uncountable. Okay. So in this picture, the both example, countable, uncountable, both are there. We can count tree, but we cannot count its leaves. Okay. This is a bowl of soup. We cannot count it. It's uncountable. It is head. So one head we can count. But how many hairs are there on this head? We cannot count. Yes, now you understand. One thing which we can count in numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, that is countable. And one thing which we cannot count in numbers is uncountable. So countable are which we can count, countable nouns, and which we cannot count are uncountable nouns. Are you clear? Good job. So let's practice this from your book. These nouns can be counted as ball, wicket, boat, table, pen. That's why these are the examples of countable nouns. But if I ask you, can you count water? No. Can you count the ink of pen? No. All right. So what are countable nouns? These nouns cannot be counted. Flower, sound. Can we count sound? No. Tea. Yes, we can count cup of tea. This is 1 cup of tea. But how much tea is in the cup? We cannot count. So tea is uncountable. And water and oil. Water, a glass of water. But how much water is there? We cannot count. A bottle of oil, we can count. But how much oil is there? We cannot count. So these are the examples of uncountable nouns. Are you clear? Okay, so let's practice it from your book. Classify the nouns given below as countable and uncountable nouns. You will draw 2 columns, read the noun and find out. If it is countable, you will write it in countable column. If it is uncountable, you will write it in uncountable column. So pause the video and complete this exercise in your notebook. Yes, my dear children, are you done with it? Good job. So it's time for our activity. The students will be asked to draw 2 columns on a paper. And the columns will be titled as countable and uncountable nouns. Now teacher will tell them to write the names of the food items which they ate yesterday. Students will write the food items in their relevant columns. For example, if you have eaten chapati, it's countable, you can write in countable column. But if you have eaten rice, rice is uncountable, you will write it uncountable column. Okay, so are you clear? All right, pause the video, enjoy this beautiful activity. Yes, my dear children, are you done with it? Good job. So it's time for your homework. You will go to market with your elders, observe different items in shop and write 10 countable and uncountable noun from the shop in your notebook. Okay, and here is a worksheet, my dear fellow teachers. This worksheet, lesson plan, PowerPoint presentation, links are given. You may click it, download it, and kindly provide a printed worksheet to students for practice. Students, what you are going to do? You will read the noun, and here there are space given. If it is countable, you will write C. If it is uncountable, you will write U for each picture. So what we have learned today, we recalled the concept of countable and uncountable nouns, and we demonstrated use of more countable and uncountable nouns. So in this way, we achieved the SLO to identify and differentiate between countable and uncountable nouns. Yes, my dear children, are we done with it? Yes, that's it for today. Tomorrow I'll come again with a very interesting lesson. Till that time, keep learning, keep practicing, take very good care of yourself and the people around you. Thank you and Allah Hafiz.